Hello, everyone. Welcome back to Dirty Martini. I hope you're doing well, and I hope you're having an amazing day. My day, even though it wasn't great, it is finishing off with an amazing ending because I just had my first watermelon of the year. And this is a significant moment because it signifies that it's finally summer. It's June, guys. Happy Pride Month to all my gays. Watch out for Millie Bobby Brown. But I just love watermelon. I have this watermelon sugar high. It just tastes like strawberries on a summer evening. God, what the fuck is going on? Why? Also, why is a song called Watermelon Sugar starting off with a line saying it tastes like strawberries? I feel like this is something I've always wondered. If, let's say, to me, watermelon tastes like watermelon. Because, we're all individuals. We all have different perceptions. Our senses react differently, somewhat similarly, but differently to different stuff. Would watermelon taste like strawberries to someone else? Like strawberries taste to me? It's so weird to me because sometimes when someone says, "Oh, I don't like chocolate," and I love chocolate, when I was a child, I didn't perceive it as, oh, people just have different taste preferences. I was just like, okay, to them, chocolate tastes like what rocket tastes to me. So it's nasty. And I don't know. If someone has a scientific answer, which I'm sure this has been researched, please let me know. And also, this pertains to the way I used to see colors. I used to think that, for example, the way I see what in my eyes is yellow, someone else sees as blue. So have we just been conditioned to call the same color yellow, but we see it differently? I don't know. But I like the way I see colors because it is nice to see sunflowers be yellow and bananas be yellow, and that yellow equate my perception of yellow and not my perception of blue. Guys, I have no clue what's going on. I am exhausted. But you know what? Let's do it one by one. I love watermelon. This is the whole thing I wanted to say. I love watermelon. When I die, eat a handful of cherries, eat a watermelon, and eat a kilo of tangerines in my honor. Now, the thing is, I did a very big rookie mistake because I ate a shitload of watermelon, like as big as my head, right before going to bed. And if you've ever eaten watermelon, you know that this is the it girl of hydration. So I am expecting a very interesting night with having to wake up many times to go to the loo because why am I even saying this and putting it out online? This is so embarrassing. Anyways, embarrassment is a choice. Embarrassment is a perception, and it's not embarrassing. It's just authentic and real. But the problem is, I don't know how to pick watermelons. My parents, or I assume every Balkan parent and grandparent, they do some sort of interpretative dance around it. When we go to buy them, they knock on them, they tap on them, they twist them, they throw them in the air and catch them. I don't know. I don't know what they do. With me, I have no techniques. I just go based off of vibes. And I think this sums up pretty nicely who I am as a person. But the way watermelons are sold in Bulgaria would send the average Western European into a coma. Because, so you have on the side of the road, it's not even stalls, it's just a guy with a plastic chair and 100 watermelons next to him, which are stored in his bus or just laying on the ground. And you just go and pick up the watermelon. And this is also how a lot of fruits are sold, not just watermelon. And some of them are even sold next to main roads or highways. And you're like, is this great? Because all the exhaust fumes are being soaked up by the fruit. So no, it's not great. But This is our culture and I love it and I miss it. It's just such a big part of our trade, I would assume. So if there's anything I love more than watermelon, it is seedless watermelon. And oh my god, seedless grapes. I just love Mother Nature. I don't think those are actually naturally seedless. I think they were artificially cultivated to not have seeds because we're just like, teehee, I don't like seeds. Because the thing is, and I still like, even if it was artificially cultivated, I still love Mother Nature. But the thing is, when I was little, I wasn't the sharpest tool in the shed. And I thought that, but I think this is something that every child has thought, that eating a grape seed, a cucumber seed, a cherry seed, a watermelon seed would mean that the thing would grow in your stomach. So until maybe like embarrassingly late, but again, embarrassment is a choice, I would just bite off half of the grape and then take out my seeds and then continue my enjoyment of that grape. I grew out of it, and surprise, surprise, no grapes grew in me, which would have been nice to know when I was a child. Anyways, so watermelons are not only tasty, they are very divisive. They are a topic in Bulgaria which separates the population in two. They are more divisive than the ongoing current debate of whether or not Bulgaria should accept the euro as its currency and get rid of the leva. Which, guys, if you would like to see what propaganda, misinformation, disinformation, and just disturbance causes to a country and to its folk, take a look at what's going on in Bulgaria with the euro. Because, I mean, there were again physical fights in parliament after it was announced that we meet the requirements to acquire the euro as of January 1st. But like, a physical fight is the calmest day in Bulgarian parliament, unfortunately. Love my country, but sometimes, like, it gets too much. But anyways, so watermelon is more divisive than the euro because here's the thing. In Bulgaria, you either eat watermelon as is or you eat it with feta. And I know that for non-Bulgarians listening, that's probably weird. But the thing is, we have another type of people, another subsect of people who eat watermelon with bread. Here's the thing. I am all pro eating watermelon with feta. I think it's so nice because the saltiness and the sweetness just combine really nicely. And like, of course, I'm talking about Bulgarian feta. It's just the shit. But if you add bread to this, that's it. Don't come to my house. We're not friends anymore. Leave now. And even though watermelon, I bought it because, it's summer, it's June, happy Pride Month, guys. But it's not summer here, unfortunately. In Bulgaria, it's 30 something degrees, and here it is barely 14 with constant overcast and storms. And the thing is, shaving my legs was a waste of time. I could have spent that time doing something more productive or something more rewarding, because what was the point of me doing that and then having to wear my winter clothes? That was rather mean, Mother Nature. I still love you, but that was rather ironic, mean, I don't know. But it's just not really nice, because I remember last July I was here and I was still wearing my winter clothes, and that was just not it. Because in my head, June, July, August until mid-September, it is summer. And I've been longing, I've been craving. So give me my summer. I mean, I am going to Bulgaria pretty soon, so I know that when I go there, I will most likely be complaining that it's too hot. But you know what? No, I will not be complaining that it's too hot, because even when I was in Rome and it was 40 something degrees and I was as burnt as one can be, I was not complaining that it's hot because this is something I craved. Do I like being sweaty and sticky all day? No. Do I like the humidity? No. But will I still appreciate the sun? Absolutely, because deprivation of sun for 8 months a year makes you appreciate the things you were taking for granted. The good thing about the bad weather is, though, that it doesn't make me feel like I am wasting a nice day out when I have to work or stay inside to study. And you know what's really cruel? That it stops raining for the short amount of period it takes me to get dressed. And the thing is, like, I get dressed rather rapidly because I always leave late. Does that mean that I will eventually start getting ready on time? No. That just means that I, again, will start getting ready in the last possible minute and I will just rush myself and hate myself for those 5 minutes it takes me to, get ready. And that's why I don't necessarily look too put together. And that's why I don't experiment with hairstyles or with makeup, because I just push off getting ready until the moment I have to leave. So anyways, it's rather cruel that it has stopped raining for those a few minutes that it takes me to, get ready. So I'm like, oh, this is hope. I can walk. It's okay. And then the second I get out of the house, it starts raining dogs and cats, and it's like storming. And I'm like, this is so not it. And I have to take the bus, which is fine. But the thing is, the buses keep getting delayed because they just, more and more people get on them, and it's just a whole hassle. So one day I will have my own car and I will not be dependent on public transportation, and the type of weather will not affect me, and it's going to be beautiful. But the good thing about bad weather is that I can study inside without this guilt that I'm wasting a nice day. Not that studying or working is a waste of time. It is an investment into your future, which honestly, studying is what I should be doing right now. But, I am taking a break from procrastinating studying for my exams. And I know I've mentioned before that I never procrastinate, but now, guys, I am so burnout and exhausted. I barely am holding on for dear life. Like, I haven't had a day off in 6 weeks, because the thing is, I have work 5 days a week and I have university 3 days a week. How you do the math? Exactly. So there's 2 days of the week in which I only have university. There's 1 day of the week in which I have university and work. And there's 4 days, math. 4 days of the week in which I only have work. And the thing is, I am on the brink of my limit. I just cannot anymore. Next week, I will have my first day off. And I was annoyed at first because I was like, oh, I could have been scheduled to work. Why didn't they schedule me? Like, I could use the money. But then I thought about it, and I thought about the severe breakdown I had last week. And then I was like, you know what? I deserve to have a rest. Because the other day, guys, for the first time in a long time, I slept more than 6 hours, because 6 hours I sleep on a good day. But the other day I slept 10 hours. I kept on snoozing my alarm. And usually I feel quite guilty when I have to snooze my alarm. But this time I was, fuck it. My sleep debt has reached like a crisis situation, like an extreme situation. So I allowed myself to sleep until I felt like it. And 10 hours it was. And oh my God, I felt so alive after that. After that, I realized how exhausted I actually am. But it was so nice. And I just really need a few days of just existing, not working, not studying, purely existing, even if that entails just scrolling on my phone or just staring at the ceiling. I don't want to tend to anyone. I don't want to tend to anything. I don't want to tend to myself even. Well, no, actually, I would love to tend to myself. I would love to do like some relaxation spa day. But the thing is, I am tired. I know this probably sounds like an over exaggeration, and some of you are probably out there thinking like, well, of course, welcome to adulthood. This is what it's going to be like for the rest of your life. But guys, I believe that once I can focus on one thing and not spread myself too thinly. So I'm not in university and have to work to sustain my going to university. If I focus on only one thing, that would halve my stress for sure. And that would be amazing. But unfortunately, there's no way I can do this. So if you're out there and you can afford to go to university without having to work, appreciate it, because it's a privilege. And that's the thing that pisses me off when people say, oh, university is the best years of your life, you should enjoy them, you should go out, you should do this, you should do that, blah 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 blah, you will never be this carefree. Babe, have you ever had to pay a bill? Have you ever had to worry about budgeting on a severe level where even instant noodles are like, should I even just like skip a meal? Because come on. So I think that people who say that your student years are your best years are coming from quite a privileged stance where they've never had to worry whether or not they can sustain going to university. Because here's the thing, if I were financially taken care of and I didn't have to work, sure, it would be carefree and I would have the opportunity to go out and just go clubbing and have drinks and go for, I don't know, go to restaurants, meet new people, just travel. But because I have to sustain myself, I don't have that privilege. And it is so annoying when you talk to someone who has never had to pay a bill in their entire life, and they're just like, I know that they're incapable of comprehending your situation because they've never had to be in your situation, but it's just so infuriating. Because if there is one thing that pisses me off in this world, it is people who not only take their privilege for granted, but assume their privilege is a given and that everybody has access to the same privileges. I am not blaming you for your privilege. I think you should use your privilege, but I think you should have common sense is not so common. So maybe have the critical thought that not everybody has the same access to the same resources, to the same privileges, and just be mindful of the way you talk to people. Because you shoving down my throat that, hey, you're not making the best out of your student years the way you're technically supposed to, because you're not going out as much and you're not getting drunk every single week and you're not clubbing 4 times a week. Yeah, I know. And it's getting drunk and going clubbing is not something I crave per se. It is just, it would be nice to know I have the option to, because but the thing is, like, it's always like at the end of the academic year, it is always the most stressful because it is the last push. I am trying to get it over with and I'm trying to just, save up as much money as possible, because the summers I spent working in Bulgaria. So when I earn money in leva and then I convert it to euros, I have earned half the money. So, I mean, now with conversion to euro, we'll see how that goes. But it's just, I don't know. Like, I shouldn't have to explain myself and I shouldn't have to, feel diminished by other people's privileges. So, wait, I feel the need to quickly clarify something. I would never, ever, ever judge someone for being born into privilege. You literally don't choose this. However, I don't think that privilege should equal ignorance towards other people's lack of privileges or lack of rights. And here I'm not talking about purely academia related stuff. I am talking about altogether privilege, about overall privilege. And I think what would be ideal, but unfortunately we don't live in an ideal world, would be to not use those privileges to exert power, but to use those privileges to privilege others who are lacking privileges or who are lacking rights, instead of using that privilege to shove down their throats the fact that they are deprived of something. And by privilege, I don't mean that you're born into wealth or that you're born with a first world passport. I literally mean the things we have come to perceive as a given, the most quote unquote mundane privileges, such as having a home, having safety, having food, resources, and so on and so forth. So I really, really hope that we can learn to be more empathetic towards people and can be better people simply by helping each other out, because sharing your privileges does not diminish them. It does not take away of their value. In fact, it increases them. Because the whole point of existence, I think, should be to uplift other and to help each other, rather than try to play cat and dog and try to outsmart, outperform, and outdo and out exist and outbe and outlive anyone. And I'm also not implying that I don't live a privileged life. In fact, I am severely, severely privileged. And I used to blame myself so much for that privilege. And then one day I just woke up and realized that there is no need to blame myself for my privileges, because there's nothing I can do to revoke my privileges. So instead of blaming myself for them, and instead of just not using them out of spite because I have them, I can use them to privilege others. And this is why I stopped blaming myself for the things I have and started striving to share them with people who don't have them. I don't know. But again, it's always like this. It's always like this around June and when it's the last push, and it's so hard to keep myself motivated and concentrated, because I've done so much, and I am squeezed, I am fried, and just a massive shout out to YouTube for getting me through yet another degree with its clear explanations, with its dumbing down, because the thing is, my bachelor degree, it shouldn't have said my university, it should have been issued by YouTube, because YouTube, oh my god, the people who create educational content on YouTube, and I just think you're godsend, and I appreciate you so much. And those are my mini celebrities. If I ever in real life saw some of the YouTubers who have taught me my degree, I would freak out. But you know what? Speaking of getting your information academically from an online platform or altogether from the internet, I have a bone to pick. Q King Kuda by Kendrick Lamar. So, this week, I finished 2 group projects. Well, not I, but me and my friend in a group of 6. So basically, wait, let me slow down. Rewind. So, group projects. Guys, I know I have talked about them many, many times. I have another thing to say, a new lens to bring to the horizon. I hate group projects. I know I've never mentioned this, but I hate group projects. They are the bane of my existence. They were sent from hell as punishment for something I did in a past life, or maybe something I did in this life and I've been unable to recognize it as a sin. It's just, I hate group projects. There's nothing that infuriates me the way group project does. English. Guys, it's okay. It's not my first language. It's all right. So the thing is, we had this group project on this theoretical course, and it was about analyzing an article from different theoretical lenses and just, presenting. So it was like a presentation of the analysis. And first of all, the thing that pissed me off was that this presentation, like, it was so time limited. And I hate when I have 3 minutes to present a large project. I just hate when academia is like, do a word by word analysis of the Bible in 7 words. Like, how? I hate it. Just let me yap. I can. And the thing is, so, like, it's always in projects where I have nothing to say that they give me like a threshold that I have to meet of like 20,000 words. And then when I have so much to say, they give me like 3 words and a wooden stick and a chewed gum with a piece of hair in it that's been scraped off of the bottom of a fast food restaurant. So, the reason I am pissed, and I am severely pissed, is because, so we were 6 people, and as you can imagine, it was just me and my friend who did the presentation. I was so severely pissed because we had a week to prepare the presentation, which is a sufficient amount of time to prepare the presentation that we had to prepare. And the people we were in a group with did not do shit. And by did not do shit, I mean they used AI to make their entire slides. And when my friend and I were proofreading everything, because we were the one to present, obviously, because the other ones just didn't want to. And then I was so pissed because when we went to the presentation, and I was so anxious because I wasn't necessarily too well prepared, because I had just worked 40 hours and like that week. And on top of that, I had to study for an exam and for another group project and that group project as well. And it was just a lot. So I wasn't prepared to the level in which I had wanted. So I go there and I'm quite nervous, and like my heart is beating out my chest. And one of the group members says, well, thank God you wanted to present, because we wouldn't be able to. And I'm like, I didn't want to present. If you want to, you can go instead of me. And I know I was being a bitch, but like the thing is, they also had to be prepared because they were all going to be part of the Q&A. So wait, step by step. So they used AI. And my friend and I, we were proofreading. And the thing is, I was the one to notice they were using AI, because I'm reading their stuff and nothing that they have put as information on the slide matches with the data that we had to analyze. They are talking about some mediated relationships between variables. I know this is probably getting extremely boring for some of you out there, but it's all right, because I am infuriated and I need to share. And they were talking about some mediated relationships when in the text it was a clear causal relationship between the independent and the dependent variable. And I was like, where the fuck did you get this mediator from? And I confronted them, and I was like, trying not to be a bitch. Well, what is being a bitch? But I confronted them and I was like, hey guys, have you used AI to, create those slides? Because the information that is on there is not correct. And then if I had not confronted them, and mind you, this is a few hours before the deadline, if I had not confronted them, they wouldn't have said anything about their use of AI. And I told them, well, if we use AI, we have to disclose it. Because if you copy paste directly from AI and you present it as your own work, this is plagiarism. And plagiarism and copyright infringement are just the biggest crime you can commit in academia. And the thing is, I don't give a shit if you're lazy. I don't give a shit if you don't understand. I don't give a shit if you don't know. Actually, I give a shit if you don't understand and don't know. just ask, because I also was struggling to understand and to remember. But if I can do it, so do you. Because just ask me, ask clarifying question. There's nothing shameful in not understanding or not knowing. There should never be shame about those stuff. There's no such thing as inherent knowledge or inherent understanding, especially when we are dealing with something, on like a higher academic level, and something that is quite complex. That is okay if you don't understand. Just ask. What is not okay is you using AI to create the thing, presenting it as your own, and me being in the same boat with you without you having disclosed it to me. And babes, it doesn't work like this, because I'm not going to get charged with plagiarism because of you. And the thing is, if you get charged with plagiarism, you, at least this is how it's in my university, I don't know how it's in other universities, you get excluded and you get your student rights revoked. And like, you are not allowed to continue your education in any other university in the country for, I think, 3 years. And this would define my next 3 years, or like, my life. Because someone was too lazy to put in 30 minutes of work. And that's why I hate group works. I hate them because there's so many free riders. I don't think I've had 3 pleasant experiences in group work in the 15 years in which I've been getting my education. And I'm so sick and tired of them. And I get it. I know that the teachers are creating larger groups so that they have to, check less assignments. Because if you have 70 groups of 3 people, or you have 35 groups of 6 people, it's one thing to check 70 assignments and it's another thing to check 35 assignments. I get it. But like, there's no way you can prevent disengagement and free riding when there's so many people. And I just hate it. Because also, you know what's been pissing me off? Like, you're not doing yourself a favor by cheating. Because by cheating, you're wasting your time and you're wasting your money. And you're wasting my time and my money, because before the deadline, even though I had done my part days prior, my friend and I, we had to create everything from scratch. And they were like, well, I cannot do it now, I'm busy, so you have to fix it. Fuck you, bitch. Fuck you, fuck you, fuck you. And they didn't even have the audacity. Like, the guy who used fully AI, because others had borrowed some parts from AI, again, not disclosed, but the other guy fully copied from AI. He didn't even show up to the presentation. And it's how embarrassing. I think we should bring back shame. How embarrassing and how disrespectful. Because not only were we going to get screwed over by you and your laziness, because it is, guys, I am also overwhelmed. I also have many different things to tend to, and I know I should not be expecting what I do to be done by others, and I cannot expect the same level of commitment, but this is pure laziness. Because fuck you, genuinely fuck you. And like, again, you're wasting your time and you're wasting your money, because you're paying thousands of euros every year to have access to those resources. You're paying thousands of euros to have access to those academic, professionals, to have access to those assignments, and you are not doing them. So at least out of, I don't know what the word is, but like frugalness, like the state of being frugal, I don't know, like I am a bit like infuriated right now, so my English isn't Englishing, but out of, wanting to make a good use out of your money, do your assignment. Or like, if you're not going to do your assignment, be upfront about it. Because I hate thinking that I can rely on someone and them proving me wrong every single time. And you know what's even more pissing me off? And the thing is, I'm not saying it to boast, because the thing is, I don't think it's difficult to perform well on a pre-master level, because it is still bachelor level courses. And if you are at a pre-master level, that means that you've already done a bachelor's degree. So you should be able to do that level of thinking, that level of workload should be like achievable to you. So I don't think it's necessarily difficult to get good grades in the pre-master. So I've been earning those people great grades, and I don't mean it to boast, but like I've been performing well. And what's pissing me off is that they've done nothing about the project, but the high grade is still in their diploma, and we will compete for the same position in the work field. And it's just pissing me off because it is not fair. And I know, like, life is not fair, get over it. But it just sucks so much because those people with that grade, if we were to compete with each other for the same work position, they would be given priority simply because of their nationality, which would be the case for me if we were in Bulgaria. I know that. I know that in Bulgaria, I would be given priority over an international. But I'm just so sick and tired of this. I am sick and tired of the fact that I, as an expat and as an international, as an immigrant, or whatever you want to label me, I am sick that you constantly have to prove day in and day out, minute after minute, second after second, you have to prove that you deserve to have access to those resources, that you deserve to have access to those institutions, that you deserve to be here, that you deserve to breathe the same air. And you have to constantly prove yourself while you're seeing other people take those resources, take those institutions, take those privileges for granted and disregard them and waste them. And I know maybe this is how I acted in Bulgaria, but now I can be quite reflective on my own privileges when I'm in Bulgaria as well. And I know that it is a privilege to be able to reflect on your privileges, but it's just so infuriating because people work their entire life to get something that other people were granted at birth and just wasted, or at least, or even if not wasted, took for granted and underappreciated. And should we be revoked our privileges to recognize that they were privileges? I don't think so. And you know what? It just sucks so much, man. It just sucks and it's infuriating. And I don't know. You know what? They told me all of my cages were mental, so I got wasted like all my potential. Because the thing is, I can sit here and I can complain about it, but unfortunately, nothing is going to change. At work, I am still going to be more hardworking than my local colleagues who are slacking because I have to prove that I deserve to have a job. At university, I am still going to be putting in extra effort because I have to prove that I deserve to have access to those university resources. Because now with like the severe budget cuts and the internationalization and stuff, there is pressure that you have to prove that you deserve to be here, that you have to prove that you deserve to exist here. And especially also when you are coming from a country, because everybody keeps telling me that there's a lot of Bulgarians here. I've never met any. Well, I've met a few, but like at work, never at university. And the thing is, when I come from a country where, you know, the narrative around us is like the other, we are stereotyped. I can go on and on about this, but the thing is, you're tokenized. You're perceived not as a Bulgarian, you're perceived as the Bulgarian, and you are the representation of your entire country, and you don't want to do your country injustice, like you want to present it well. And you know what, I'm going to enter a difficult territory, so let's not go there. It's infuriating. And the teachers themselves that I've talked to are not giving me hope, because they themselves, I have talked to predominantly international teachers, because most of my teachers are internationals, which is funny that they're cutting the budgets and are trying to de-internationalize when their entire educational system in higher universities is based off of internationals. But my teachers are not giving me hope, because they keep telling me that those injustices are just never solved and you just live with them. And that is so messed up. And it's just, you would expect that at a master level, it would just be students who genuinely want to develop themselves, who are genuinely interested in learning. Because I get it, there is nowadays this social expectation to get your bachelor's degree, because if you don't get a university degree, you're kind of looked down upon in certain, fields. But we're talking about a master's degree. If your parents forced you to get a bachelor's degree, I don't think they would be forcing you. Well, I don't know what your family situation is like, but it's just there is less pressure about getting a master's degree than there is about getting a bachelor's degree. And it just sucks, because isn't this supposed to be a filter which would, filter out people who are disinterested and not engaged and don't want to learn and don't want to put in the work? Apparently not. And it is infuriating, and I just hate it so, so much. And unfortunately, there's nothing I can do to change it. I can complain here. The complaining is not going to do anything. And even though we have this saying in Bulgaria, one bird does not equal spring, aka like it's difficult for a single stone to turn the car upside down, there is still, point in having those conversations. There is still merit in them, because if we don't recognize those power imbalances, if we don't recognize this privilege separation, if we don't recognize this, then it's just going to keep on continuing. And sure, I get it. I myself will not be able to eradicate this privilege some while deprive others of privileges, or have them put in extra effort to make sure that they deserve to have access to those privileges that we have granted other people at birth. I know I am not going to change anything myself, but I think it's nice to hear about experiences. It's nice to talk about life, because different people experience life differently. And I get it. Now I'm only talking about academia, but this happens in life. And in life, those things, those deprive some of privileges while give other privileges at birth, is even more severe. And I know that in academia, it's just like a small blip of a part of a larger picture, but I still think it's important to talk about, because it just sucks. It sucks. And anyways, my teacher also told me that I would be a great PhD candidate. And while this was an amazing ego boost, if Martina a year from now is listening to this, even though I never re-listen my episodes because I just don't think it's necessary, they have served their purpose simply by me venting. Even if I'm not listening a year from now, I want someone of you who is listening to this, and if I have the ideation that I want to do a PhD after my master, you're not only allowed, you are encouraged to, talk me out of it. Because PhDs take so long. They take 5 years? And the thing is, I don't have that in me. One of the main reasons I decided to stay in the Netherlands for my master's was because they offer 1-year master courses. Because ideally, I would have gone to a different country, because I feel like I have overstayed my welcome here, but that is a topic for another time. I would have gone to another country, but most countries offer master courses, which are 2 years. And I don't have it in me. I just don't have it in me to study 2 more years. And while a PhD would be a nice ego boost because, it's all about calling yourself a doctor of science, I know. Also, I'm not interested in working in academia. And a PhD, considering the things I would potentially love to do with my life, would mean that I am overqualified. Because unfortunately, there is a thing as being overqualified. Because if I were to go to a company and start, have an entry level job, and if I have a PhD, then they would not be justified in paying me an entry level salary if I have that many qualifications. And it's just it again sucks so much. Like that just tells you how fucked up also the job market is, because also nowadays, unfortunately, education is not a guarantee that you will get a job. And I have mentioned this before and I'll mention it again. I work in a fast food chain, and I cannot tell you how many people come in every single day giving their CVs, looking, grasping for straws to get a job so that they can just, pay the bills until they find something better. And most of those people have master's degrees. And it's just crazy that a master's degree is not a sufficient qualification to guarantee you a job that you in the field in which you're educated. And I'm not trying to diminish the job which is performed in fast food chains, because you know it's it's such a big industry and I'm not trying to undermine it, but you shouldn't have to have a master's degree to, you know, work in a fast food chain. And it's so fucked up. And it's not giving me a lot of hope about my future development. And I hope that I get a job I enjoy, a job I am qualified for. And I just don't want to work in the Horeca, guys. I'm sorry, I really don't. Like, I respect and appreciate everybody who works in the Horeca, which is like hotels, restaurant, cafes. I respect you. I respect everyone who works in customer service of any sort, like of retail. But I am not cut out for it. And I just want to be creative. I don't know. I am so confused. And also, that's one of the reasons I decided to pursue a master's degree straight out of my bachelor, or maybe it was one of the main reasons I decided to do a master's after my bachelor. And that is because I don't know what I want to do with my life. I don't know how to approach the things I want to do in my life, even if I knew what they were. And I feel like a master's degree is me delaying adulthood by 1 more year, which could be a clarifying one. It could be an even more confusing one. So hopefully by next year, I have some sort of, if not answers, at least a direction, because a one direction. But the thing is, it's so, I don't know, I don't like the fact that at such a young age, when we have not experienced so much yet, even though we have experienced plenty, we're supposed to know what we want to do with our life for the rest of our lives. It just doesn't make sense to me, because how am I supposed to know what I want outside of academic life when academic scholarly life is everything I've known up until this point? And I remember when I was 14 and I had to choose what high school to go to. And in my hometown, high schools are rather specialized. You have a language high school, you have a mathematics high school, you have one that's focused on mechanics and one that's focused on Horeca. And I was just like, this is so much pressure. How am I at 14 supposed to commit to a decision which is going to define the rest of my basic education. And the thing is, the type of high school diploma you have might be a determinant when it comes to applying for university. And it's so fucked up how, well, it's not fucked up, it's obvious, but it's also interesting how every single decision you make, it's the butterfly effect, guys. Every single decision you make influences other decisions. It influences the way your life plays out. Of course, there are other aspects apart from your decision making, because if it was all determined by I am going to do this, and there were no external factors which could support or just destroy the process, it would be easy, but it's not. And I'm just confused. I am lost. With every single step I take towards clarity, I become more and more confused, and I don't know what to do. And I just want to go in the corner of my room and sob until I find the answer. But sobbing, crying, pondering, complaining is not going to solve my issue. Doing it, just doing the things, making the mistakes, making the decisions is what's going to lead me. But it's so difficult to take a step forward, to take a step into uncertainty when you just want some stability, because everything around you is unstable when you yourself are not stable. But there's something else I wanted to say about AI. Stop using AI for creativity. AI is eradicating critical thought because it is spoon feeding you information that you're inclined to believe just because it is programmed and positioned to be smart. Have I used AI? Absolutely. Has it helped me? Absolutely. Do I plan on using AI? I don't think so, for creative purposes, I mean. But whether we like it or not, there is no going back. We cannot take away AI after it has penetrated society so much. We can just moderate it, we can regulate it. I think AI content should always have a watermark that says created with AI. But AI is flawed. I'm not saying that I'm never going to use AI, and I'm not judging you if you're using AI to support your decision making, because it's a tool. And there's no such thing as inherently good or as inherently bad tool. Tools are what we, through our use, make them to be. And I think that we jumped rather quickly into AI use without much preparation, without giving it much thought about what it would mean for society, what it would mean for nature. Because AI systems are cooled down by using water, and they are using a crazy amount of water that was unpredicted, and this is how AI is destroying our nature. But it is not AI that is destroying it. It is us, the users, who use it for everything and anything. And stop using AI as a search engine. I was so pissed off when one of my friends told me she's using AI as a search engine. And I'm trying not to be judgmental, but also she was fact checking me for which bus she should take when she came here. And I'm like, I've lived here for 4 years. I know which bus you have to take. She's like, well, still I had to ChatGPT it. No, you didn't. No, you didn't. ChatGPT, not just ChatGPT, any sort of AI, which is just delivering you information on a silver plate, is eradicating the process of looking for knowledge. And it is amazing that we have immediate granted access to knowledge from all over the world. And now searching for knowledge is rather fast. It is, well, not rather, it is super duper fast. But be critical of the information you're served. Because especially when AI content it has not been flagged as AI and you don't know if what you're saying is real or AI generated, be critical. Don't assimilate everything as true, because AI is flawed. AI is an algorithm. And you also have to recognize that algorithms are created by people. People have biases. People might program the very process of creating an algorithm to, let's say, identify one thing or not identify another is biased, because the very decision making of to choosing what to program into that algorithm is based on the human's perception of what is important and what should be omitted. Yes. So just be mindful. Keep in mind that there's no such thing as objective algorithms. There's just not a thing as objective algorithms, because again, algorithms are created by people, and people by nature cannot be objective. So when you use AI to acquire knowledge, to, let's say, be explained a concept, or keeping up to date with, let's say, politics or something like this, be explained something you don't understand, keep in mind that it's viewed through a particular lens, a particular cultural, socio-political lens. And it is important to just stay critical, because the way AI eases our processes of brainstorming, of writing text, of creating content, it is great that it's so efficient, but it just eradicates the entire process of creativity, which is crucial for development, which is crucial to create the human aspect in art. And when it comes to using AI in university, keep reminding yourself, remember that the whole point of university, the whole point of you being educated is so that you become critical. And by critical, I don't mean critical in a negative way. You just are able, you have a toolkit, an analytical toolkit of knowledge to evaluate the things you read and evaluate the things you create. And I know that there's no stopping people from using AI. No matter the moderation universities apply, people are still going to use AI, because AI is the future, whether we like it or not. But this is my urge to you to not let your creativity and critical thought atrophy because they could be substituted with something easy and something fast. And what is pissing me off is actually also the modern day witchcraft blaming is blaming you that you have used AI when you haven't, which happens to me more often than not, because I write quite complex sentences. I don't like when other people use complex sentences because they just gatekeep knowledge and understanding. But my complex sentences are okay because I get them. But like also I can clarify them and dumb them down if it's necessary. So not checking the information you're provided with by AI is the stupidest thing you could do. And also AI gives you can analyze non-existent data, the same thing that happened with us in that presentation. It can provide you with non-existent citations. And just keep in mind that copy pasting from AI is full-on plagiarism. And if you plagiarize, you deserve to bear your consequences. With that being said, thank you so much, guys, for listening to this episode. I hope you enjoyed it. I hope to see you next week as well. But until then, stay hydrated, wear sunscreen, and don't support genocide. Bye!